guys, I'm going to try just showing you a little bit about multiplying fractions pictorially. So pictorially just means with pictures. We've been doing some multiplication of fractions, and so you should know basic. It's just going to be you multiply the numerator times the numerator, the denominator times the denominator, and go from there. But I'm going to show you, because I think some of you are getting confused about the pictures in there. So let me just show you a couple things on here. So if we're going to find 3/4 of 1/2, what that means is we're going to take a half and we're going to find what 3/4 of it is. Another way to write that would be 3/4 times 1/2. But when we think about it pictorially, here's what I want you to picture. So if this square or rectangle is equal to one whole, so this is one whole, then if we took that and divided it vertically first, and then we shaded it in yellow, then there would be 1/2, right? So that piece right there is equal to 1/2, and I could even label that right here as 1/2 because the whole thing is a whole. Now, but what I'm looking for is to find what 3/4 of that is. So I have to divide that up. I have to partition. We talked about the word partition it. I have to partition it into 4 equal sections. And so if I'm going to partition into 4 equal sections, how many lines should I draw? Yeah, I should draw 3, right? We've talked about this before. So I'm going to draw 3 lines. 1, 2, 3. And if you look at it horizontally this way, you'll see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sections going horizontally. Now what I want to do is I'm going to color in 3 out of those 4 sections. So I'm going to color in this whole one right here, and this whole one right here, and this whole one right here. And what you'll see is where the colors end up on top of each other, that is the amount. So if you see, it's just these 3 right here, 1, 2, 3, right there, that have both colors on it, because it's 3/4 of 1/2. And so if I take that and I go, okay, well then that's 3. And then how many total sections are there? Well, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 total sections. Now, it makes sense because if I were to multiply this, multiply my numerators together and my denominators together, then I'm going to get 3 times 1 is 3, and 4 times 2 is 8. And so there we go. So we know that 3/4 of 1/2 is 3/8. Now, let's do another one. So we'll try this one. This is going to be a little bit more, not difficult, but a little bit bigger space. We're going to do 5/6 of 1/4. And so if you were doing steps, if we were doing steps on this, the step 1 would be draw second fraction vertically, which means that I would make a square or a rectangle like this, and I'm going to partition it vertically. So this is the second fraction, so I want to do 4 sections. So how many lines would I draw? Yeah, I would draw 3. 1, 2, 3. And then what I want to do is I want to shade that in. I want to shade one of those 4 sections in. Okay? So there we go. So we got 1 out of 4. This equals right here. This is 1/4. If you've got an opportunity to do this with me, do it with me. Maybe you have a whiteboard, maybe you just have a piece of paper and some crayons or whatever, colored pencils, go ahead and do that. So draw a second fraction vertically, boom, did that. Number 2 is going to be partition. That's that word that we've talked about, making equal parts. Partition the rectangle horizontally with the first fraction. Okay? So I want 6 equal pieces. So if I want 6 equal pieces going horizontally, I want to draw how many lines? I want to draw 5 lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll see if I were to just label the rows, I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6 rows. Now, how many of those rows do I need to color in? Well, I need to color in 5 of those 6 rows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to color in this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you'll see once again that wherever the colors are on top of each other, well, actually, it's nice because yellow and blue makes green. So wherever I find green, that's what our answer is. So if I count them up, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sections colored green out of, well, I could count all these up, but I know I've got 6 rows and I've got 4 columns. 6 times 4 is 24. If you want to count them all up, trust me, it's going to be 24. So my answer is 5/6 of 1/4 is 5/24. So as far as the steps go, partition rectangle horizontally with the first fraction, color rows, and that's basically it. Then you count it up and there you go. So this makes sense because if I do 5/6 times 1/4, 5 times 1 is 5, 6 times 4 is 24. So anyway, that's basically in a nutshell how to do it. The only thing that may come up is when you have something like this. If I have 2/3 of 1/2, so I'm going to do this one pretty quick. So I want to do a half. Change that. There's a half, labeled a half. And then I need thirds, so I'm going to do that horizontally. So I'm going to draw 2 lines for thirds, so that makes it 1, 2, 3 rows. And I'm going to color in 2 of those 3 rows now. 1, 2, and you'll notice that I have 2 of the sections colored. But then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sections, 2/6. And so you may get this answer. However, you should know that if it's a multiple choice and you don't see 2/6 there as an answer, then you need to reduce your fraction. And so this is going to be an easy one. I'm going to divide by 2, and that equals 1/3. So anyway, and it kind of makes sense because if you look at this backwards, if you do what's half of 2/3, well, what's half of 2? Half of 2 is 1. So half of 2/3 is 1/3. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that, how to do that. Feel free to use this in the future. And yeah, that's it. Talk to you later.